Hey guys, Andy here from Mediocre Hobbies, bringing you the next installment for the old world. This time we are going to start focusing on the Chaos Dwarfs. I of course wanted a Chaos Dwarf army back in the day, but even then it was very expensive off of Forge World. The land train was a fortune, and I basically just didn't have the disposable income back then to purchase said army. Jump now to 2024. The army is now available to play in Warhammer the Old World, but Games Workshop has stated they will not be bringing it back out, which means we need to find alternative ways to get the miniatures for this game, and that's where the sponsor of today's video comes in, Proxywars. So I've done a bunch of videos for Proxywars already. They seem to be my little on the side dealer that are able to give me all the miniatures that I need for Warhammer the Old World, as they are not currently available. And their range of Chaos Dwarves are phenomenal. So today's video, I'm going to check out one of their models and do an awesome Bull Centaur, which is one of the characters who leads the Chaos Dwarf force into battle. It's a particularly nice sculpt, and I'm going to see by the end of this if I'm happy with this style and this level of detail. And I'm going to push forward and do an entire army of Chaos Dwarves using these miniatures. So stick around and enjoy the video. Now, before I get into it, I just want to say a huge thank you to all of my patrons. You guys are awesome. Thank you to all of the new patrons joining in. Hopefully you are enjoying all of the extra content and enjoying the Discord server. The Discord server has been popping the last couple of months. You guys are really involved with each other, and there's great community building there. So if that's something you're interested in getting involved with, check down that link below. All right, guys, now we are ready to start painting a Chaos Dwarf. Okay guys, and this is the particular Chaos Dwarf miniature that I have chosen for today's video. It is the Bull Centaur Taur'ruk, which is the Lord level character for the Bull Centaurs. I didn't just go for a standard Bull Centaur, I decided to go all in with a crazy beast. Now I thought I'd begin the video with a little bit of lore about what a Bull Centaur actually is. So, Bull Centaur riders, also known as Bull Centaurs, are mutant creatures that possess the upper torso of a Chaos Dwarf, but the body of a ferocious bull. Many centuries ago, when the Chaos Dwarves were first twisted by chaos, some of their race were transformed into Bull Centaurs. Since those days, the Bull Centaurs have guarded the great statue of Hazut in the great temple high atop the Chaos Dwarf capital city, Tower of Zarnagrund. They are as keen-witted and intelligent as dwarves and completely devoted to the worship of Hazut, the father of darkness. Bull Centaurs are amongst the cruel creatures utterly dedicated to the sorcerer prophet master of Zarnagrund and their horrifying deity. The Chaos Dwarf sorcerers trust them completely and often entrust them with complex and dangerous tasks. Although they are few in number, they are more powerful than Chaos Dwarfs and much swifter in battle. Even though they are mighty individuals amongst them, there is no sorcerers in their numbers. So in the lore of the Chaos Dwarves, there are not many of these beasts around. Only a couple of them are born every generation. They are handed swiftly over to the dwarven sorcerers. And unfortunately, when they come into this world, it usually does mean the death of the dame that sired them, which is a sad fact. But of course, when a cruel and malevolent creature like this enters the world, I'm sure tragedy is sure to follow. Obviously, they act as shock troops for the Chaos Dwarves. Obviously, if you've got a large unit of these guys led by a lord that smash into the front rank of pretty much any other unit in the old world, that unit is going to have a really bad time. I have some images at the very end of this video where obviously I'm just showcasing the finished paint job, but I decided just for the emphasis, it's kind of hard to show in my hand. I have a Chaos Warrior stood next to it in one of the final pictures, and you can see the actual scale and scope of the Lord of the Bull Centaurs. This miniature was, of course, very kindly provided to me by Proxywars. They are the sponsor of today's video. Proxywars is a service that I've been using for quite a long time now, and they have been a long-time supporter of the channel. What they do is they offer not just STL files, they offer the physical product. So what they do is they buy the merchandising license from a bunch of different companies, companies that you may have liked miniatures or wanted miniatures from in the past, but you do not own a 3D printer and have no interest in becoming a member of the 3D printing community, but you want some of the miniatures for it. Well, Proxywars is the kind of company that will print those out to you, get them cleaned up, supports removed, and post them straight to your front door. So instead of having to print this miniature myself, I just get a completed model ready to be put on a base, sprayed and painted, which I really do quite enjoy. I think it's a fantastic service, and I think it's a service that is well needed inside the community these days, as the more and more amazing 3D printed miniatures become available as the days go by at this stage. And like I said, not everyone is interested in 3D printing. 3D printing is not a throwaway thing. It is an entire hobby unto itself. You must understand this and respect it. It takes a lot of time, money, and effort to 3D print miniatures. So to have the option to have it just done for you is pretty awesome. I'm also leaning extremely heavily on the Duncan Rose 2 Thin Coats of Paint for this particular video. As I've talked to you guys in multiple videos before, I really do enjoy using these paints. I'm not sponsored by them, I'm not supported by them in any way, shape, or form. They're just something that I enjoy using. So whenever I'm using a non-Games Workshop miniature, I tend to kind of switch over and use them quite a lot just for a bit of fun. Now, although I am not supported by them, if you do wish to purchase them, of course, things like my Element Games link will get you some of those paints as well. I'll get a small kickback for that. But that's the same as if you had bought a Games Workshop paint from them or an AK paint from them. Get nothing special for these. I just genuinely really like them, and I'm very much excited to get my hands on Wave 3 and get stuck into all those awesome new colors as well. So you can see the Bull Centaur has two very distinct skin tones. It's obviously skin from the waist up, and obviously just his face and his arms. One of them only up to the elbow because one of them has got that kind of crackling molten rock look. And then the Bull Centaur from the waist down is going to get that really nice, like rich, deep, reddy brown tone. And I think I pulled it off beautifully with those colors. Now it's time for the arduous process of blocking in all of the armor plates and things that need to go bright red. How I ever used to do this back in the day on armies, I do not know. Like, blocking in colors with like base coating miniatures with contrast takes seconds, and doing it with a paint takes so long. I don't know why anybody does it. But sticking with the range of paints, I'm going to go for it. We then grab some Spartan bronze, and then the other arduous task of blocking in the edges of basically all the trim and all the bits on this miniature that need to go gold. It will take a little bit of time. But once I have the red and the gold kind of blocked in, I know which parts are where. I can then move over to layering up the red and then the gold and so on and so forth, and getting that. It's quite a staggering feature of this miniature. It's really important. It may even be the kind of primary feature of the model is its awesome evil armor. Like I was saying earlier, the Chaos Dwarfs have a molten rock hand, and obviously he's carrying some sort of kind of sorcerer's energy or fiery blast in his left hand. Now, dwarves do not use magic. Standard dwarves, they abstain from using magic. They do not like magic. They hate it, and they'll stay far away from it. And the Chaos Dwarfs perhaps give us an indication as to why they do that, because Chaos Dwarfs do have sorcerers, and they do cast spells and do all that kind of madness. And the problem is that what happens is, over time, the more magical energy that the Chaos Dwarfs kind of draw into their body and then use for spells, the more of their body turns to stone. In fact, back in the old edition of Warhammer Fantasy, they had a separate miscast table just for them. Every other race in the game followed a single miscast table. For anyone who doesn't know what a miscast table is, when you're rolling to cast a spell, if you roll 2 1s, you miscast. Your spell has gone horribly wrong, and you roll on a table, and cataclysmic things can happen, including your whole sorcerer getting sucked into a pit and disappearing entirely. It's quite terrifying. The Chaos Dwarfs had their own one, and some of them were even kind of good results, because you could miscast and a little bit more of your body would turn to stone, and you would get another point of toughness. But Chaos Sorcerers, or Chaos Dwarf Sorcerers, who do not stop casting magic even when they start turning to stone, will eventually become entirely stone statues and die. So it's a very fickle thing. It's dangerous, but they obviously have powerful magics at their disposal, and they don't really care. They're lunatic Chaos Dwarves. I also wondered if the animosity between Chaos Dwarves and Dark Elves exists. Obviously, elves and dwarves do not like each other in any way, shape, or form due to the 100 Years' War, the War of the Beards, which lasted many hundreds of years. I'm wondering if that kind of animosity is gone between the Chaos Dwarves and the Dark Elves. That'd be a very interesting thing to read up on and find out. I'm going to try and do that. As you can see, I'm now layering up that beautiful red armor. Once again, going through the triads for the 2 thin coats and getting it done. Starting to get somewhere. I'm really enjoying it. Now, I can only really dedicate a day to painting these miniatures for these videos, and I did start to kind of run out of time a little bit with this guy, but I really wanted to see him done. So we did the last stage of gold highlight on the trim. It's really good going. So obviously I did the whole red armor, then I did the gold trim, and then I finished up the red highlights. But obviously going in around all those little golden designs can be quite tricky. So saving the last highlight of gold until now so I can go back in and touch it up, tidy up any red spots, I think is really important. As for the rest of the miniature, I really did have to save some time. What I did is I grabbed my Black Templar and I decided to block in all the other colors. And luckily for me, his beard is supposed to be black, his horns are supposed to be black, his hooves are supposed to be black, but I didn't have time to kind of layer them up or add any extra highlights to them. I think they still look pretty good. I'm really happy with how they look. I might not ever go back and touch them back up again, because as a finished piece, I think it works. The kind of beads that run down the side of his body and some of the extra bits that go through his beard are also going to get blacked. And then all of the the leather straps and stuff that are holding on all the armor panels, like the flank of the bull part and all those bits. His horns could go bone horn color, but obviously some of the images online had them in black as well, and I really like that. Like I said, these guys kind of brim with kind of fire and fury, and literal molten fire cracks through their skin. So having charred blackened horns, I think actually looks really cool, and I'm happy enough with that as a result. So as you can see, I blocked in the rest of the color. We're going to jump over to Mantis Warrior Green just for the kind of magical effects. Obviously the big fireball that's in his staff, and the one obviously in his hand. And what I decided to do is I painted in a bright whitish color into his eyeballs and hit them with a little bit of green, Mantis Warrior Green contrast as well, to give it that glowing effect, just to make it look like he is literally glowing from the inside out. The bottom of his staff has a little gemstone or a ball of energy as well, which of course got that coat of green. And those are the last bits I'm going to do. So after that, I just finished basing this particular Bull Centaur, and I'm going to leave him here for now. If I took my entire Chaos Dwarf army up to this standard, I would be more than happy. So mediocre hobbies for a reason, eh? Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. I'd love to know your thoughts on the model, this awesome 3D print. Like I said, I'm going to show you some still images of this guy now. So here he is on what he should look like on the tabletop. I am quite excited to see what he will look like in his squad. So I think my next order from Proxywars will just contain a bunch of different Chaos Dwarf stuff, and we'll kind of go from there. And then here's some images of what he will look like standing next to a Chaos Warrior, which is no slouch of a miniature in size. And as you can see, this Bull Centaur is absolutely colossal. What a beast. Okay guys, and there we have it. The Bull Centaur is now complete. It is the first miniature for my new Chaos Dwarf army. I'm going to use all the models from Proxywars because I'm super pleased with how this turned out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Obviously, it's a much bigger model than I usually go to for doing a standard old world video. But I thought if I was going to start a project like Chaos Dwarves, I should start it with a bang, and I think I have succeeded. Let me know what you guys think of the miniature, the army, and of course, Proxywars down in the description below, in the comments below, sorry. I would love to hear your thoughts and feelings on that. If there's any other miniatures from the Chaos Dwarf range that you want to see me get my hands on and paint up, I'd be more than happy to. I know there are some files out there to print some land trains, quake mortars, and all the kind of crazy stuff like that, so I'd be happy to do it for you guys. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on all future content, and make sure you do jump into the comments down below and get involved in the conversation. I do get back to absolutely everybody that does. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to the end. I'll see you in the next one.